I never thought I'd be staring down the barrel of a gun on my own front porch. All because of a patch of old pine trees that some power-hungry neighbor couldn't stand. But there I was, heart pounding, watching my 85-year-old grandpa face off with a couple of fake tough guys like it was just another Tuesday afternoon. It started small, you see, this whole mess in Willowbrook Heights, Georgia, where Grandpa Tom and I lived on this little 2-acre lot that stuck out like a sore thumb in a sea of cookie-cutter houses with their perfect lawns and matching swing sets. Those pines had been there forever, shading the yard where Grandpa would sit with his coffee, reminiscing about his days in the Army, dodging real hazards in Korea. Not some busybody's idea of a community hazard that blocked her dream of a fancy tennis court. Grandpa wasn't one to back down. He'd seen worse than a nosy HOA president named Karen Miller, who ruled the neighborhood like her own little kingdom, fining folks for the wrong color mailbox or too many Christmas lights, always with that smug smile, like she was doing us all a favor. But our land? That was her obsession. She wanted it gone, turned into some shiny amenity to boost property values, or so she said. Deep down, I think it was jealousy. Plain and simple, because our place had history, roots that her vinyl-sided empire couldn't touch. One morning I step out to grab the mail and bam, our box is pulverized, bent like a pretzel, letters strewn everywhere, including Grandpa's pension check from the VA, ripped clean in half. My blood boiled. This wasn't kids messing around, it was deliberate. Tire marks dug deep, like someone took a bat to it with glee. Grandpa just nodded when I showed him, his eyes narrowing. That quiet fury of a man who'd planned battles before. "Federal offense, Alex," he muttered, already grabbing a shovel from the shed, digging a new hole twice as deep, pouring concrete like he was fortifying a bunker. I called the postal inspector right away, guy named Ramirez, sounded like he meant business. Told him about Karen's endless complaints, how she'd been pushing us to sell for months, her friendly letters turning into veiled threats. Things escalated quick after that. These unmarked gray sedans started showing up, idling down the block with a clear view of our driveway, always the same two burly dudes inside, staring like they had nothing better to do. It creeped me out at first, that constant watch, following me to the store sometimes just close enough to make your skin crawl. But Grandpa? He'd wave at them from the porch, slow and mocking, calling them our fan club, which just made them squirm. "They're testing us, son," he'd say, his voice low and steady, like he was back in the trenches, reading the enemy's moves. We wired up cameras, top-notch ones, night vision, the works, hidden in the pines, feeding to my laptop. I started logging it all. Times, descriptions, even snapped pics of their fake badges with that ridiculous eagle and gavel logo Karen had slapped on her so-called Neighborhood Watch Committee. It wasn't official, of course, just her way of playing cop, hiring muscle with dues money to scare folks into line. Then came the night everything went dark. Power out, water sputtering to nothing, our house a black island in a lit-up street. I checked the breakers, the outage map. Nothing reported, just us targeted. Grandpa lit these old oil lamps he'd stashed away, calm as ever, handing me a jug of water he'd filled that morning, like he'd seen this coming. "They want us desperate, Alex. Force a slip-up. Maybe a health scare for an old-timer like me." His words hit hard. At 85, he needed his meds refrigerated, his routines unbroken. But panic? Not in his playbook. I stepped outside to call the utilities and sheriff, phone flashlight cutting the shadows, when I heard it. Rustling by the back fence, shovels scraping dirt. Heart racing, I crept closer. There they were, those same goons, burying a wrapped bundle that screamed, "Set up," probably fake drugs to pin on us once we fled the uninhabitable house. I flipped on my light. They bolted like cowards. And bam, our tree cam caught it all, crystal clear. Them sneaking in, digging, planting. The sheriff rolled up fast, lights flashing. Forensics bagged the bundle, confirmed the sabotage on our lines, sawed pipes, yanked meters. "You've got a real conspiracy here," the deputy said, shaking his head as Grandpa sipped tea by lamplight, that knowing glint in his eye. But Karen wasn't done. Next morning, this official notice slapped on our door, bold letters screaming "emergency eviction order," citing bogus codes about unsafe foliage and structural risks, demanding we vacate in 24 hours for her remediation team. It was laughable. Pixelated seal from the wrong county, her scrawled signature twice over. But dangerous, too, impersonating officials, forging seals. Grandpa read it slow, then grinned like a fox. "This is gold, Alex. Felonies stacked high." We fired off calls. Ramirez for the fraud angle, sheriff for the locals, even the state AG through Grandpa's vet connections. Motives? Clear as day. Karen's grip on the HOA was slipping. Folks grumbled about her fines, her favoritism, how she'd twisted rules to favor her cronies, all while eyeing our land to cement her legacy. We weren't just fighting for Pines. It was about power, community control gone rotten. The clock ticked, but we waited, cameras rolling, porch spotless. When those white vans pulled up early, doors flying open, out spilled her crew. 2 familiar thugs, plus this weaselly guy with a clipboard, Jenkins, puffing up like a peacock. "Tom Thompson, vacate now. County order," he barked, waving his fake paper. Grandpa rocked in his chair, silent, eyes locked. I stepped up. "You're no officer. We checked. That's forgery, buddy. A felony." Jenkins flushed, stammered. "This is legal. Interfere and face charges." Then one thug, Mike, hand on his holster, snarling, "Move, old man, or we'll make you." Grandpa stood slow, hands casual behind his back, gripping his old service pistol, I knew, voice like gravel. "Son, take that hand off your weapon. You're trespassing, and if you draw, it'll be the last mistake you make." Tension snapped tight. Mike pulled his gun, not aiming yet, just holding it low, growling, "You threatening me?" Grandpa didn't blink. "Last chance, drop it, hands up." The air hummed electric. And that's when the tide turned. Sirens wailing close. My neighbor Sam blasting over a hidden speaker. "Live from Willowbrook, folks! Armed idiots threatening a vet! Cavalry's here!" Sam, our radio whiz, had rigged a stream from my phone, broadcasting wide. Neighbors pouring out, phones up. One guy with a crowbar, another a rake. Doors banged. The isolation shattered. Deputies screeched in, blocking the vans. "Weapon down! Now!" Mike's face crumpled, gun hitting dirt as cuffs clicked. Searches turned up more fakes. Badges, orders, even a bag of powder they tried planting in their own van. But our railing cam nailed it, them stashing it on arrival. Then Lisa, the HOA treasurer, rushed up, envelope shaking. "Karen's been embezzling. Dues for these vans, guns, all of it. Proof here." Gasps rippled. Neighbors shared horror stories. Fines that broke families. Threats whispered at meetings. It was bigger than us. Systemic rot, Karen manipulating for control, feeding her ego on fear. As dusk fell, the big guns arrived, state troopers, AG suits, raiding Karen's house 2 doors down. Lights out inside, her hiding like a kid, but the Rams smashed the door. "State police, hands up!" Out she came, pajamas rumpled, cuffed and shrieking. "You Thompsons, you ruined me!" Grandpa just watched, silent victory in his stance. Warrants flew. Ledgers exposed years of fraud, her army funded by stolen dues. She confessed under pressure, racketeering, conspiracy, sentenced hard, her goons too, for weapons and setups. The HOA, dissolved by the state, covenants gone, dues vanished. Neighbors breathed free, picket fences up, antennas waving, kids' toys scattered without fear. Looking back, it changed me, showed how one bully's greed can poison a whole community, but standing firm, with smarts and allies, flips the script. Grandpa's pines still stand tall, a reminder. Protect what's yours, but lawfully, patiently, like chess in a world of checkers. Yet I wonder, was justice too harsh or not enough? Could we have talked it out before the guns? What do you think? Ever faced a neighborhood tyrant? Share below, right or wrong. How far would you go for home? Hit like if this hit home, subscribe for more real tales. Let's chat in the comments.